One, hi, we're live with Miami's Community News, and we have the founding mayor of Palmetto Bay, Gene Flynn, and Gene's going to be sharing this interview with his Facebook friends, and I'm going to be doing the same.
Where's it coming up?
While he's trying to figure that out over there, I'm going to do this too. So it looks like I got that part, and 1, 2, 3.
There it is.
I think
now
that
I
we
need
did
to
it.
share it over. So
Okay, so we'll see if we got it right. All right, if not, we'll keep doing it. All right, so here's what we've got. Gene Flynn, former mayor and the original founding mayor of Palmetto Bay, is he's taken an interest in his hometown where you've lived for how long?
all my life.
I see that you're wearing a mask over there.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Thank you for asking. I'm wearing a gator today, a EBC gator, in honor of the fact that coming this weekend, October 10th, Saturday, the Everglades Bike Club is going back to resuming their bike rides. Of course, under a new protocol. We're very going to have our proper distances. We're following the CDC protocols. But this is a great time to get back into cycling. A lot of people are riding. We're a club that focuses on safe cycling. I invite everybody, look up Everglades Bike Club, rides everywhere. In fact, it's even more exciting this year. We've got some members that are taking us into a different direction. Now, sometimes different directions can be good, sometimes they're bad. This is a good one. We're offering gravel rides this year. There's going to be rides that are not that far out.
You're purposely going to go on gravel.
I've ridden on gravel many times. It's great to get out there, see the local nature, all the way from deer, box turtles, alligators.
Any pythons?
Once.
All right.
Seen some rat snakes out there. The only thing we see and experience that we don't like so much is every now and then you run into some mosquitoes out there. But I recommend joining the club, learning to ride safe with a group. We've got a lot of great social activities, and it's a lot of fun. So come on out and join the club. So,
wow!
And this weekend only, get a free neck gaiter. So,
how about that? And speaking of safe, we have the glass between us. When you come to the building over here, we take your temperature, spray your hands, and give you a tag so we know who's there. And we also have available for Gene's alma mater. So what do we have here? We have. It's all about
the U.
It's all about the U. There you go.
It's all about the U.
You went to law school there, no?
Went to undergrad and law school there.
Wow. Okay.
Very proud of my education here within the community.
Okay. So a couple things again with Palmetto Bay. Oh, by the way, David Singer says, "Can I make bad jokes like Gene does when I'm on?"
No. Well, he can make bad jokes. The question is, can he make good jokes like I?
No,
make?
he can't.
No,
All
he can't. No.
We know there might be an opportunity for him on Saturday nights when Coconut Grove opens back up.
I do want to let the residents of Palmetto Bay know that he has at the present time avocados. You should go out there to the Singer House, avoid the bats, get the avocados.
Okay, so let's talk about what's on the agenda in Palmetto Bay coming up. The city recently, village, had hired or thought they had hired a village manager. This is about 6 weeks or so ago. And on a Thursday evening, we were told the city manager had been selected. Of course, we ran the story. And the next morning, the proposed city manager said, "I don't want to do it." 6 weeks later,
Proposed, and they left him at the altar.
Yes, and then 6 weeks later, which is about 3 weeks ago, the interim manager, who's been doing a pretty darn good job, apparently had something was going on. And he tendered his resignation with a 1 or 2 week notice. A few days later, he took back that resignation, and he's going to be there until, I suppose, the new manager is appointed. There's 3 managers, right, that are being looked at right now.
The 3, yes.
Right. The city plans on voting on that.
Just like the United States Senate plans on voting on replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes. So there's 3 people that are going to be there for sure after November 3rd. All right. There's a potential of maybe one other one that would be the David Singer race. All right. And then the Ed Silver race. But for sure, all right, it could be 2 brand new people that are there. And why the village would want to select a city manager when 40% of those people would have might not be there. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think it goes along the fact that the majority on that council just wants control. They want to control the manager. They figure they've got two candidates in the two races that they control anyway, so they're not going to get much of a gripe from them. But unlike the U.S. Supreme Court, this is not an appointment for life, and you're already putting the potential village manager in a hard spot with potentially two new people coming in. Now, I don't think you're going to have two new people coming in, and I hope that the people that get in, whether they're Ed and David or David and Ed, I hope that they're as mature as I was. Remember, when I came in, the attorney that was there when I left in 2010 was replaced with Dexter Leighton. Did I try to replace him? No, I tried to work with him, and I worked very well with him. And it's all about the ability to work with people. This council has not shown an ability to work with people. I think that's why you had interim manager Truitt actually tender his resignation with the clerk. I'm kind of curious about that. I really wasn't interested enough to look at the law, but where you tender an actual resignation and it's actually given to the clerk, the question is, can that be rescinded or should have been reappointed to that position?
Oh.
It's a technicality, but you know, when you have people that like just don't follow the rules, that's how you get $2 million into the hole on the budget.
Yes. So, and speaking of that, Hal Feldman, hello, Hal. I'll see you soon.
Hey, Hal, how you doing? No, I'm not interested in selling my house today.
Okay. So he asked,
but he's a great guy to go to if you need to.
Okay. So there's sort of two questions there, which was, in your mind, Gene, what do you think the single most important issue is for the people in Palmetto Bay?
I think it's they don't have the tools right now.
Who's they?
The residents, don't have the tools to follow what's going on in their government. You know, I printed just here, you know, if you go to the Agenda Center and you look at the different years, it has the agendas, it has the minutes, and media means meeting videos. And if you go down here, you'll see there's videos posted for some of these meetings, but not all the meetings. And there's minutes posted for 0 meetings. And if you go to the resolutions, there's not even a placeholder for 2020, the resolutions that were passed in 2020. How does the average person find out the details of what's going on in their government? The answer is they can't unless they file a public records request. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm sorry for interrupting. It's not the clerk. I worked with the same clerk. She got minutes up. She got resolutions up very promptly. So the only thing that's changed, it's not the clerk that's changed, it's the administration.
So why isn't it up?
Because then you can start to follow things. I have a blog, and again, hopefully it'll trickle along. And the article that last went up was, you know, I heard the candidate yesterday talk about this horrendous community center. Heaven forbid we have, like most cities have, a gathering place where, you know, you could have grandparent and me events, mommy and me, daddy and me, kid events, movie nights, all kinds of things going on. That is just horrible to think that a city could actually have a gathering place, and it's horrible to think that it would be sandwiched between City Hall and Palmetto Bay Park, and it's horrible to think it'd be in a burgeoning downtown area where you could even take your kids to have an event, you know, date night out, where you take your kids where our parks, entertain your kids for an evening, so you go out and go shopping or dining in the village restaurants, which they've taken off in this latest code, our formerly award-winning code that this council has just totally demolished. But you know, the lack of vision here is very telling right now.
And why there are 5 people on that council, right? Each one has 1 vote. So how is it that this council has been, it seems to be reduced to their vision pretty dramatically? Why has that happened?
Because they're controlled by several people out there. You know, after the election, and I was, you know, replaced for, you know, for this new direction that nobody knew it was going to be south. People came to the mic and said, you know, I hope the silliness of sea level rise goes away. And it has. You don't see anything in the budget. You've got Key Biscayne, you've got Miami-Dade County working on sea level rise, working on trying to do things about the septic tank system here. which, by the way, one of the last things I did my first term was work with then Commissioner Sorensen and current Commissioner Moss to bring water and sewer to the area, and we still haven't seen people hook up to that. But the septic tank is a huge issue with sea level rise, with our environmental area, and there's nothing in the budget to push these things forward, to work on these things. And it's like all distraction politics right now. And whenever anybody raises an issue of importance, critical importance, I mean, this is going to impact my largest investment, which is my home. It's going to impact the value of my home, which, by the way, I am on sewer. It's going to hurt my investment. You need to focus on these things. But when somebody tries to bring it up, when David Singer tries to bring it up, when anybody else brings it up, you've got the back of the room group or these other people that just want to come on and troll and attack the messenger. And it's not effective government.
So when the messenger gets killed, sometimes a great message gets lost in it as well.
Yeah, well, you can't go to the website and see what's going on. You can't see what's happened in the resolution. You can't go and look at what the legislative priorities were and see how they did on it. You can't say, well, somebody claims that we have somebody who did a great job on stormwater getting it in the budget, but then you don't see that the governor vetoed all that money. The whole issue with this is, again, transparency, try to see what's going on. One of the things I believed in was people support what they help create, but there's no support for that now. It's just a core group of people that want to jealously guard who they feel they are the puppet masters for a few people up there. And the way they control is by their. I have too many friends tell me they put up a sign for another candidate, they'll put up a sign for David or for Ed, and they'll start getting texts or phone calls. And the most nasty, vile things come out about people on that. And it's like people are not even allowed to express their opinion anymore. And that's really sad. But this is your government, people.
So
this is your
couple
government.
things. And I mentioned this to you before, 6 weeks ago, when the rallies and demonstrations turned into riots, I was getting ready to post a picture of a policeman. And in the back of my head, I hear this little voice saying, are they going to bomb your place, whoever they is? I said, oh my God, it's seeping in, all right? And then I immediately posted a lot of pictures so I could get some good memory in there. But I realized that I was being affected by that. And when people, all right, get phone calls because they have the signs out front, I think it's you either have to be big enough to ignore it or say mind your own business or whatever it's going to be. But let's attend.
I actually find it kind of cute sometimes, though, when you see somebody with their Trump signs on one side, their Biden signs, and then they're piling them on one side and the other side. And to me, that's a little rivalry. It seems to be clean. I mean, maybe they're trying to, but the signs are going to come down afterwards. I hope that they can cross that street, shake their hands, and that the pandemic will be over with by then, to where they can sit there and have a little neighborhood gathering.
So, for the most part, half the people are going to like your guy, and the other half are not. But let's see a
Hopefully
couple comments.
51% like my guys.
Yes, there you go. So, Julia, I'm not sure what you mean by the neighborhood is a cult, or it's controlled by cults. So we'll move down. John Henry says, in reference to something here, because the mayor has solidified control and wants to continue reducing differing views.
Yeah, the mayor should be welcoming opposing views. And I often said, I was quoted on this a lot, and back there in the original council, we had some serious disagreements, but I think that made everything better. I mean, through the goal is through conflict. And that term means something different now than it did maybe 10, 15 years ago. But through conflict should come resolution.
But you're a lawyer, and you do a lot of mediation and talking with the other side. So you're accustomed to it, because at the end of the day, all right, there are going to be 4 or 5 people there that are going to be there. Not everybody's going to be happy, but you know what? But it's over, right?
You do the best you can. Nobody likes 5,600 units in the downtown area, but then if you really have the facts out there, you would learn that the original county plan was as many as 23,000 units. Do I believe there ever would have been anywhere near there? No, I don't think you ever would have seen even 10,000. But when you've got the potential for 18 to 23,000 or 20,000 units, your potential is a lot higher. You know, at 5,600, do you really think you were going to see 5,600? That's a huge reduction in that.
Yes.
But what you would have gotten with that, what we gave with that, was mixed use. And nowadays, you know, we're looking at brick and mortar fighting to survive, and what they need is kind of a captured audience. And restaurants will do better when they have people living upstairs and come down
course.
and go to them.
So let's look at, there's some people that have attacked the council by saying that you guys overpaid for a piece of property where there was going to be a charter school.
Well, unfortunately, you can have your opinion as to what should have been paid, but the answer is you go to a licensed professional, which is an appraisal. We got 2 appraisals, but go back to my blog today, and on there you'll see a letter and that was in December of 2019, where the seller asked the village, if you don't want it, I will buy it back. Not at a discount. I will give you back your money that you paid for this. $2,950,000 we paid. That he was willing to buy it back from the village for $2,950,000. And you know what? Just like so many other things, this council squandered the opportunity. You know why? Because they're not really unhappy. They just want to tell you they're unhappy. They just want to create dissension. That is poor leadership. If they really wanted to get rid of that land, the opportunity was and is there. Is it still there? I don't know. It's an awful stale offer. The economy has really changed since then. But you know what? I may just do a public records request because I want to see what communication was done as to, did you communicate? Did you counteroffer? What would they even have counteroffered with?
So even though it's public knowledge that the seller volunteered to buy back the property at the same price, there's still people that are condemning folks that originally paid for it, saying that they paid too much. The payment was based upon two appraisals that were done by qualified people. These are people that make their living doing that.
People that are licensed professionals and could lose their license if they do a fraudulent appraisal. So that's why you are required to get these appraisals. But it's just like the Palmetto Bay Village Center with the 22 acres. My predecessor's plan was to build 40 units there and a fire station, and they have the gall to say it's worthless property. Well, if you don't like it for the pineland, which I think, again, you know, I guess you have no environmental empathy, but it still has value as the attempt to roll the 40 units into the zoning district that is there would give it the rights to 10 units an acre. On the 22 acres, that's 220 units. 41 was just a start.
So let's see, a couple things. Bob Buzzelli wants to know what's happening with the intersection of 87th Avenue and 174th Street.
Well, cars come up to it. They go to the four-way stop, and then they proceed forward. That's if they stop at all. If you go back, and I've been watching, one of the things I do on my blog is I do something that the village administration is not permitted to do by council, which is do an update on the litigation. If you go back November 18th of almost more than a year, coming up on a year, November 18th, there was a motion to immediately stay the litigation they did so they could go through conflict resolution. They went through the conflict resolution and it went nowhere. Now, if it's still going on, I'd like to know when it has gone on, but the lawsuit sits there and festers. The only thing that's happened is, I believe in May, the current in-house attorney filed a notice of appearance, which is a procedural matter, notify the court there's a new attorney involved, but there's been nothing what they call substantive as far as trying to move the case forward to resolution. So all you've got is a lawsuit which continues to fester what should be a good working relationship with the county and Palmetto Bay. Maybe that's why we're getting mega sidewalks on our side of the road instead of Pinecrest. Maybe that's why Old Cutler Road was moved from starting in January to in 2023. Nobody likes a lawsuit hanging over their head,
and
unless I'm the one hanging it over their head.
yes, so I do want to say hi to some folks here. Bill Kurdyke, Bradley Cassell, Fred Delgado, Anthony Truesdale, Grant Miller, Vidal is here as well.
Did you say Bill Kurdyke?
Yes, Bill Kurdyke right there.
God,
Right?
it's been years, Bill. We should
Yep.
get out on the golf course, but
Okay.
you've got to give me about 20 strokes.
Okay, so Councilman Singer says there's no communication at all with the seller to buy back the property.
Well, that's sad. I think I should make a public records request and see what's going on.
So the village, one day I'll stop correcting myself, the village is having a deficit this year and next year. If the city is so desperate for money, guess what?
Hey, you got $2,950,000 sitting right there, with the exception of a little bit of cost that you pay to transfer property back and forth. We have a pretty recent title policy on it, so it's not going to cost much to update that. I know that from the time that I was an owner of a title company. I mean, it's just money left out there that they just don't mind because they're not paying it. It's the taxpayers that pay for it. But you know what you could do? You got a bike, coming out on a weekend, join me with the Everglades Bike Club.
Is that why you're so calm nowadays?
Just take that bike ride.
When you go out, what time do you usually start and what time do you usually finish? More or
Depends
less.
upon how good a night I had the night before.
Gene, you're in bed at 9:30.
I wish it was that late. No, it is. No. No. I'll get out there anytime if I'm meeting the group and I ride to meet the group, I have the legally required, above the legally required lights on both, on the front and the rear of the bike. I'll ride starting in the dark to meet up at daybreak, to meet up with the club on Ponce. I'll actually ride my bike from the house to Ponce where the club starts, which is a 9.9 mile ride, but who's counting? And then we'll start from there, go back down to Black Point or further south.
And how many people in that group?
I want to see what we get with the reboot on that. And again, seriously, anybody out there, EBC or EBC wannabes, join us. We have numerous groups. We have a beginners group that goes out. That's a 20-mile ride. It goes to Deering and back to Ponce. We have, as I said, a group on the gravel, which is set your own pace, which you can do as little as 4 miles or you can do 33 miles. And it's all kind of in an area. It's a very family-friendly ride as well, by the way. But we'll do anywhere from, there's an elite group that's 20 plus. If you really want to get your heart rate racing, going out with them, and that can be anywhere from 50 to 75 miles. And that goes out from Ponce all the way out to Robert is here and back.
Very nice.
You might even know some of those people.
Do.
So plastic surgin, Dr. Deidre Marshall, who's
I know
very
her. I've
active
seen her
in
on the
there.
front of our Inspire Health magazine. It's Carol Vega, activist in Palmetto Bay, and generally a civic-minded person. She loves to speak her mind, as she does in horse country. She says, "Thanks for catching yourself when you say city instead of village." Carol, you are the only reason that I do that, all right? But we need to stop taxpayers from having to pay to give council persons titles of commissioners, all right?
Yeah, it's funny. This is our problem. We need to change the names. Unfortunately, the office holders will remain. So you can change the names, but you need to change the substance, and that's part of the distraction. Vote how you want to on that. If you think it's that important to change the titles, then God bless you. But you know what? We should have put forward a balanced budget requirement in there, because we've had now a very serious issue, in my opinion. Last year's budget, they voted for a budget based upon raising the stormwater tax. That did not get passed during the budget time. When it came time to passing the budget, passing the stormwater tax, they chickened out, because people all of a sudden were made aware. Oh, you mean people know we're going to raise the stormwater tax? So they didn't raise it for last year's budget. That blew up the budget, because that revenue source to that extent that they planned on in their budget wasn't there. This year, $200,000 of their budget, which by the way is in the hole already, is dependent upon a refinancing of the bond. And I worked very hard to get the AAA rating, and it even went up a little bit under Mayor Stanzik, and it was always held firm. But now with this litigation, and they don't tell anybody, they didn't tell anybody this, but the bond is on hold. The refi of the bond is on hold. So what's on hold is the savings that is built into the budget.
That's because a potential, not a potential, there's a lawsuit against the city, and there's a potential $20 million loss.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing. Luxcom has a lot of skin in the game, and they are going to drive that lawsuit a lot more than Miami-Dade County is on the lawsuit in regards to 174 and 87th Avenue, which is going nowhere. That lawsuit's moving as fast as school time traffic through the village.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up. See, he is trying to be a comedian. let's talk about transportation. Yes, and yes, we've discussed it with some of the people, other people, but transportation and the movement of vehicles from south to north and then the other way is pretty important to everyone. That's the number one thing that people are really concerned with, as far as where they live and how they get to work. So, what do you think the village should do to try to improve relations with the surrounding cities so they can come up and the county can come up with a solution to some of the issues?
I think the village should buy everyone a membership with the Everglades Bike Club and get more people on bikes. I think that we need to promote bikes. I think we should be working with the schools. One of the first things I did as mayor was we did a long overdue traffic study for all the schools within the village. It's time to do that again. But that takes cooperation. That takes a lack of conflict in regards to your employer and doing it. And things change, and the traffic in 2004, 2006 is not the traffic we have today. I know Buzzelli has a few other ideas, and I'm not going to discuss those here today. I'll leave those for when Bob wants to come on.
So the school system adds 8 to 10% of the traffic, all right? So some of the schools are back right now. The rest are going to be back in a week or two. So that if there was ever anything that was enjoyable was the lack of traffic, which I never particularly liked because I like to see a lot of cars. That means there's a lot of happy people and people are working. But right now, when we look at it, the biggest issue for the county mayor's race a year ago was traffic. And it went away, no thanks to them. I can tell you we've had people sitting exactly where you are. When I bring up Cutler Bay or Palmetto Bay to the other person, the other municipality, the facial contours completely change. Gene, you were involved. What happened to diminish the relationship between these two cities?
I worked hard at the beginning to create. Mayor Mirbot was Councilman Mirbot at the time that we created the South Dade Municipal Coalition. It worked very well at the 900 Perrine building that I also worked very hard to finally wrest from the county and bring it under Palmetto Bay control, where we could nurture it and update it and keep it for a viable building for our various functions. We worked with Pinecrest at that point, and things went well. And we were focused on a lot of things, like trying to bring rail down and work on it. Now the question is that I think what you've got in the village is a culture of avoidance. Coronavirus became a very convenient excuse. It's very frustrating to me. I wish I would have had the ability to use the technology that they're using now. I mean, I'm just thinking, who wants to drive down and sit at Village Hall to wait till the issue comes up? If it even comes up now. There's so many special council meetings. I think there were like 82 meetings one year when the reasonable person thinks there's one meeting a month, and not including August. So you're thinking, how many meetings could there be? 15? No, I think it was 82 one year. Not under me, of course, but so you never know what day, whatever, and it would be so great if they continue to embrace it. These meetings should actually have more activity, more involvement, not less. But I'm wondering how they're going to get through the backlog of zoning applications once they go back live, which may be next month.
Yes, that's what I hear. So Bob Buzzelli asked the question to you, Gene. Is the city still paying $1,100 a month to the church down there?
You know what? You can't tell by going to the website. What is it? Has it even been discussed at the meeting? Are we paying just to feather political nests? That whole program was supposed to be a 6-month program, and I championed bringing it there. But I've had some other thoughts about it as well. We're trying to build ridership on the bus lane so that we can get rail, and yet Palmetto Bay is currently working hard at bringing the ridership numbers down by creating an exclusive Palmetto Bay resident-only ridership. You can call it what you want to, but I'm kind of going in that direction. And, is it paying for itself? The freebie I championed, but you've got to step back and say, okay, it's one thing to have them, but you've got to consistently monitor the program. Are we getting the value for those programs? The Express program was supposed to be a 6-month pilot program. I didn't see any measurements done on that. I know that Bill used to ask for ridership numbers, and as soon as I'm out of office, I don't know whether he gave up asking or he was no longer interested in asking, but what are the ridership numbers, and why are we paying $1,100 or $1,000 or whatever
Is
it
that
is
for renting parking
for renting
space?
parking space? Now
have some
let's
space
be
here.
honest, the church has been an outstanding partner with the Village
Yes.
of Palmetto Bay.
So speaking of ridership, Doral, which is an international city, I mean, with everybody in the world has a business there, lots of houses and different type of dwellings. 890,000 people ride their buses a year. I'm not going to ask what Palmetto Bay is, but we have over here Carol again. She says, bring back transparency, which we know is not happening, and also, and we got to learn to laugh at ourselves because Carol says that David can't be doing all the laughing with his bad jokes.
Well, they're entertaining other people, so maybe we should do more time entertaining ourselves. But it's just strange. I mean, we got projects done under me. Things moved. You may not have liked them, but at least they moved, and we got them done. We had the first green certified building in the Coral Reef Park. Did great things with Thalata. We have the first platinum certified village hall in the southeast United States. Forget about Florida. And now you're looking at when they started that bridge at Coral Reef Park, which everybody, I kept putting it off because I didn't see the value of that bridge. The next council jumped on it I guess it was going to be a legacy project, but they started at, I believe, maybe late December or January with the goal of it would be open, the ribbon cutting for the March picnic. Well, it didn't get done in March. It's been progressing since then. So they obviously plan on taking January, February,
Yep.
2 months. Now they've been working on it since March of this year, and we're how many months into that? 5 months, and that
Yes.
bridge still has a ways to
we
go
have,
to be
we have
done.
3 minutes left. One of the most
No,
contentious.
call people. You can get more time.
Yes. So Tommy's back there going, it's time already. My perception is one of the most contentious issues last year, or maybe it was the year before, was about bridging in Palmetto Bay, which
Did Bob just send you a text or something?
yeah, which was the people that were for it and the people are against it. But let's talk now, addressing the question that Hal asked earlier, and I just want to clear, what do you think are the two most important things? Is that a handkerchief?
What are the most important things? Well, I think transparency. They're hiding the fact that they are blowing through money like drunken sailors, that you don't know where the money's going, that there are so many reboots and retries and things that they think are going to go and fail. They've spent so much in attorney's fees on unproductive matters that they don't want you to know why the money's hurting, and that's why they want you to get your information from propaganda emails. But transparency is absolutely important. Following the charter is another issue. I just implore people, vote against the charter amendment that allows the council members added communication with the directors. All that's going to do is gang up, and when you have 3, maybe 4 directors whisper in your ear that they want something different from what the manager wants, that's what you call undermining the manager. And it was undermining the manager that led to the Franjo Road project going bye-bye and blowing up worse than, you want to talk about a blight. That's a horrible. We haven't even seen the total bill on that with all the changes they've done. And
So let's talk about how long. When were you first elected to mayors? What year was that?
October of 2002.
And you served for how many years?
10 straight years.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then
Then the 4-year hiatus due to term limits. I didn't think I was going to come back, but then you saw the litigation and everything was coming back. So I decided that just speaking out as an advocate, sometimes your voice is best heard from behind the
Denise,
dais
we would
rather
love
than in
some.
front.
Oh,
But so I came back. I cleaned up that litigation, got the budget under control, and then you know what? As soon as